Okay, so today we're going into is one Filipina enough? When is one enough? Or is it two, three, four, five? Let's find out.
Hi folks, the Filipina Pea here. And people are often surprised to learn that polygamy is actually legal in some parts of the Philippines for certain groups of people. On the whole, we don't have that many polygamous marriages, but off the books, in the shadows, there's also an informal type of plural relationship practiced here, where one person, usually a man, cohabitates with several Filipinas. But whatever form it takes, the subject seems to fascinate people. So today, I'm going to look at what happens when one just isn't enough.
All right, so we're doing it when one just isn't enough. I thought one was enough to deal with.
The definition of polygamy is having more than one spouse, either husbands or wives, but there's actually two different types. Polyandry specifically means having multiple husbands, and polygyny refers to having extra wives, which is just about the only kind of polygamy you're gonna find these days, anywhere on earth. Almost every country has strict laws against having multiple husbands, but there are still a few places that allow marrying more than one woman, even here in the Philippines. So, where are these places? And who are the people that get to double dip? Well, there are several indigenous minority groups that are allowed to practice polygamy. The majority of plural marriages in the Philippines occur among the country's 10% Muslim populations, primarily in the south. They're allowed to operate under Sharia law, a legal system that allows men to take up to four wives. Now, I know what some of you folks are probably
Sharia law.
thinking. Why can't a person just say he's converted to Islam and start building a harem of wives? Because it
Yeah, I think over here in the States there's the old school Mormons. Is it the Mormons? I think it's the Mormons, like the old school. The more modern Mormons don't do the polygamy thing, but
it doesn't work like that. First, you have to complete all the requirements to get an official certificate of conversion. And once you've done that, the tricky part begins. If you've gotten married once and you want a second wife, you gotta get permission from your first wife and her parents. And you have to show that you can afford multiple wives and multiple children, and that you can take care of them equally and without favoritism. Good luck with that.
yeah, I agree with her. Good luck with that. Um, I thought one wife and one child or one set of children was enough responsibility for a man. But hey, apparently people love to complicate their lives.
But even if you could do that, would you want to? Wouldn't it get confusing? Wouldn't it be expensive? Wouldn't there be hurt feelings? And I'm not sure any man wants to deal with quadruple tampo. Well, to find out what the public thinks, I decided to spend a few days walking around with a microphone, trying to get him to talk about it, which wasn't easy. Quite a few people had no idea what polygamy even was, and I had to explain it to them. Some people said yes to the interview until they found out it was about polygamy, and then they just walked off like it was some sort of demonic topic.
See, when she says tampo or tempo or tampo, that's, when I guess when the women get quiet and they don't, like when your wife gets quiet and doesn't talk to you for like days or whatever. I don't know what that's all about, but why is that even a thing? I don't know. I just think it sounds silly to me. It sounds kind of childish, this tempo thing or whatever. Um, I wouldn't put up with it. I just wouldn't. Like, that's something. I mean, I understand, like, everybody gets in moods, and people have bad days and all that, and that's fine, People have good and bad days, but I've heard of some of these women, like, going for, like, 3, 4 days, 5, 6 days, a week, 2 weeks without talking to their husband. I mean, that's just silliness. Come on.
But finally, I found a few that talked.
You are capable to have two wives or three, As long as you can provide their needs.
Okay, so you're okay with
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so would you want to have more than one wife?
Kung kaya na ko silang buyon, why not?
Why not?
Bitaw, di ba?
Do you know anyone that is in a polygamous marriage?
Gi-private lang. Kay,
Private?
dili mo na sagot, di ba siya legal diri?
Do you know what polygamy is? Do you know what polygamy is?
Not sure. I'm not quite sure.
Would you want to be in a polygamous relationship?
Oh, it kind of depends.
Kinda depends, okay, depending on the benefits.
I guess, yeah. But
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people would argue. I've had some of my viewers, some of my commenters say that, women are looking for resources, which resources are often derived from having money. So that's where the whole thing with, women are looking for money comes from.
I guess it depends if I get along well with the other partners.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing wrong with experimenting a bit in a relationship.
How would you schedule your sleeping arrangement?
MWF.
MWF? Monday,
yeah.
Wednesday, Friday, you?
Because I also need some space myself sometimes.
Okay, so would you want to sleep together, all three of you, or would you want to have your own bedroom?
That would take a pretty big bed to have three adults sleep. You'd have to have one of them big old king size beds. Go take up half the room or something.
I'm fine with sharing as long as the bed is like big enough for the three of us.
So what if you have a fight with the other girl?
That's when my own bedroom gets into use. Like, I
Yeah.
did know someone in a polygamous relationship before, and they did turn out well.
How many is too many?
4.
4. Would you want to be in a polygamous relationship?
No, because you are going to question the word loyalty and faithfulness about your partner.
See, I agree with her. If you start mixing things up and you've got multiple people involved, you're going to start questioning, okay, what kind of loyalty is really going on here? It's going to really complicate things.
So do you think polygamy can work, or will it end in a disaster?
Our democracy depends on you.
It really does, folks. That's no joke.
That's why we need you. We need
It will end in a disaster because the population will increase.
Oh, why do you think
Yeah.
that? Because a lot of big bada boom banging going on?
There's a lot of, the production is really fast.
Okay. Okay, so as a guy, do you think most guys would want to have a polygamous relationship?
To be honest, a guy in nature is a polygamous. Polygamous.
Would it work for you?
It will be okay.
Would it be okay? Okay. Do you know what polygamy is?
Well, actually, no. I
Notice he said a guy in nature. Is he talking about the hunter-gatherer days, or what are we talking
don't
about?
know what polygamy is.
How would you schedule the sleeping arrangement?
I sleep in my room. First wife sleep in the second room. Second wife sleep in third room.
Okay.
And we met in another room.
In another room, like the
Yeah.
den or the
And
family room.
Everyone have a free space.
Do you think the women with you in a polygamous relationship, do you think they're with you because they love you or because of financial reasons?
Because she loves me.
Love.
Yes.
Do you think both of them love you?
Yes.
Okay, I would want to think that way too if I'm the guy.
I think it could be both. It could be that the women love the guy and they also desire the resources he has to be able to live a certain quality of life.
What would you do if you're having a fight with the other wife? Would you tell your husband to kick her out? Okay, you're just gonna shoot them.
Murder.
So hypothetically, what would be the best thing about a polygamous relationship?
You can have a big family. You want to have hundreds of child because that's your goal and that you're rich.
Okay.
So you can marry a lot of wives. As long as your deal with each wife is secured.
Would you want to have more than one husband?
Why not? Why not?
Why not? You have one husband in the morning, one husband in the afternoon,
Yes.
one in the evening. Why not, right?
Yeah,
In
why
a perfect world.
Yeah.
Okay, so one bed.
In a perfect world. I don't know what kind of perfect world that is. But could you imagine though? See, I think the dynamic there is because men traditionally provide resources for the woman, right? So it gets a little weird when you have more than one husband because now you've potentially got more than one man providing resources, and then there could be like, butting of heads as to who's the leader or whatever, or who's the boss or the head honcho or the leader of the family, basically.
Bedroom, or do you want to have separate houses?
Separate houses.
Okay, so you just want to visit them one by one?
Yes.
Would you want to have more than one wife?
No, I think one wife is already more than I can handle sometimes.
Do you think they love the guy, or they're just there for financial reasons?
I don't think every woman love the guy, but for some kind of reason they are forced into that relationship. Maybe by parents.
Do you think polygamy should be illegal, or should it?
And he was talking about like by parents. That's the way they did it in the old days. There was all basically the parents and arranged marriages. It wasn't the romance and stuff. Just way back in the old days, it wasn't like that. It wasn't. Marriage was not a romance. It was a business deal between two families. It was literally a business deal between two families.
Be personal choice.
I think it's personal choice. Yeah.
So, Kuya, are you married, single?
Married.
Married. How many wives?
Secret. one lang, one.
One lang.
One
One
lang.
lang, okay. Do you know what polygamy is?
No.
Okay, so what's your name and how old are you?
Cherry 21.
Cherry 2000. Would you want to be in a polygamous relationship like you're one of the wives?
Never.
Never.
See, I agree with this girl. Like again, I couldn't and wouldn't be into that. I think that the best bond is had between two people that are solely dedicated to each other. I just think that's the only way to do it.
Why is that?
I am born Catholic, and that is against our principles.
Do you think the women in a polygamous relationship, do you think they're in that situation because they love the husband, or they're just there because of financial gains?
I personally know someone who is in a relationship because she thinks it is practical. She doesn't really love the guy, but she is with the guy because the guy can provide her needs.
Would you?
Okay, so see guys, so there we're talking about resources. That's not all women do that, but some women do that. Some women are just they're not in love. They're just, hey, I need the resources. Which again, if both parties are okay with that, there's nothing wrong with that. As I mentioned, marriages were not always this romantic thing. It's only in fairly recent times in modern society that marriage became a romantic thing. So depends on.
You want to be in a polygamous relationship?
I think it depends on which kind of personality you are. It can be good, it can functioning.
Okay, hi girlfriend. Can I show the girlfriend? Would you be okay to be part of a polygamous relationship?
Sa side sa family ng mother ko is they are okay with that because they are Subanen. My uncle have multiple wives with
Subanen. Okay, guys. So I've never heard of that. Have you guys heard of Subanen? That must be is that a certain group or ethnicity in the Philippines? I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me out with that one.
is I think 4 or 3.
Ooh, okay. Certain tribal groups here in the Philippines are allowed to have multiple wives, and Muslims and certain indigenous groups here in the Philippines.
It works.
It works.
Yes.
Would you want to be in a...
Okay, so again, like I said, so it depends on who you are. Like I just said, some people, they're cool with that. That's where they're at up here. That's what they want to do. And other people are like, no, it's not for me. So everybody's different, right?
Polygamous relationship, like one of the wives?
No.
Would you want to have multiple husbands?
Okay. Okay ra
Okay ra. So as you can see, people had a wide variety of opinions, but most people seem to think it was none of their business, and people should be free to live however they want. One thing's for sure though, for the vast majority of Filipinos, polygamy is illegal. But even though it's against the law to have more than one wife, most plural relationships in the Philippines are informal and exist out of sight, where a man, often a foreigner, lives with several women at the same time. This form of casual polygamy does exist here, often in places where the economically advantaged come in contact with the impoverished.
So I think that's what she's talking about there is the foreigners, because the foreigners are coming in with their assets or with their, I would assume it's because their foreign currency is worth a lot more than the Filipina peso. So they're coming in with all this wealth and they can provide resources. And so you have these impoverished women that are like, oh wow, I can live a decent life.
Men who can afford it sometimes decide they want more than one woman to keep them satisfied. Now, some of these relationships are purely voluntary and completely genuine, and all the parties involved actually want to be together. But there are cases where the women feel they have no choice because they need support and extra cash. And so they tolerate having to share their partner and their bed with rivals. And yes, in a harem type of situation, they often become rivals as they vie for attention and power.
Yeah, see, that kind of stuff is going to happen.
So that if someone gets cut, it won't be them. Typically, this type of situation starts with a primary relationship, whether it's a legally married couple or just a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and then after a period of time, they take another woman into their bed, and then another, and sometimes another. Now, if the man is legally married to one of the women, it's a little risky because his wife can suddenly file a complaint against him at any time, and adultery here is a serious offense. But in reality, situations like these
Yeah, and I think pretty much anywhere under the union of marriage, adultery is considered a justifiable reason, justification for divorce.
rarely become criminal cases, and no one says a word. Under Philippine law, only the spouse can file charges, so as long as no one makes a fuss or the parties involved aren't married, then no problem. I have no idea how many of these harems are based on love or how often it's just a financial decision because there are no surveys or data.
Yeah.
But if you live in the Philippines long enough, you will see it, or at least suspect it.
And it would be interesting, I was thinking about that, to try to find resources on collecting data regarding that type of stuff, right?
So tell me what you think in the comments section. Would you want more than one Filipina? Be careful that if your partner sees your answer, you might end up with none. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back on Tuesday with a discussion about a very hot topic. Till then, folks.
Some man wants to have two wives, but when he got two wives, he just realized that it's very complicated. It will be good in fantasies, like women can fantasies about sex with two men with huge cocks, but in real life she realized that no, I not wanted.
Would you help me screen the next woman?
Maybe.
She's got some good highlights there, so there's another few minutes to the video. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there, and I will leave the link in the description so you guys can go watch it for yourselves on her channel if you like. She's got another, looks like about another few minutes of highlights there. So anyway, those are some things to think about, guys, and it does, I think a lot of it does boil down to resources for many people, and I think for other people, I think there's kind of two major groups. I think for other people, for the other group, it's people that value that one-on-one commitment. They want that, that closeness. And I think my personal opinion is that I think two people can only be truly dedicated and really bonded with each other. I guess they call that pair bonding, right? They can only pair bond with each other if they are dedicated to each other in mind, body, heart, and soul, right? So anyway, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I look forward to seeing you all again, and I will leave the description in the, I will leave the link. Yeah, I'll leave the description in the link. I'll leave the link in the description, as I said. So you guys have a great week, and I will see you soon.